This is also kind of interesting. We told you in week one, Browns had the least amount of pre-snap motion. Now in week two, the Browns used pre-snap motion 49.2% of the plays. That ranked 20th in the league. 23.1% motion at the snap, 13th. They were dead last in the NFL. So you're starting to see some of that, and I'm sure it'll probably increase more and more as they open up and expand what they're doing with this offense.
Yeah, and Kevin Stefanski says it's, again, a week by week thing. I don't get too hung up on that. I know some people do, and I get it. I think what's interesting to me at this point with that stat is when they try to get fancy is when they get a lot of penalties. And, they'll have, and to me, maybe that's everybody's to blame for that. But I think that's a Deshaun Watson thing. Like, if he's got to be in control of all 11 guys. So when they go to the line of scrimmage, he's got to have everybody pause for a second. I feel like he's sending guys in motion too quickly, and then it looks like there's two guys in motion at the same time. And unless everybody stops before the snap, it's going to be a penalty. And one of those guys is supposed to be in motion, so he's not going to stop. So I think Watson's got to be cleaner in the operation.
Yeah, without question. So you mentioned the penalties, and that's one thing that absolutely has to change. Browns are the most penalized team in the NFL through 2 weeks. A few penalties ahead of their AFC North brethren. Pittsburgh is second at 5 less penalties, and Ravens have 6 less penalties. Kevin Stefanski talked about all the self-inflicted wounds today.
Really disappointed there, Cam. We need to be better in that area. It's hard to win. We don't need to make it harder on ourselves, and we did in a bunch of areas. So we can just identify and correct. We'll keep hammering it, and we got. But until we do it, we're just going to make life hard, and we don't want to do that.
Is there anything that's ongoing from having to learn from this new point of emphasis with those, maybe the shifts? I know there's illegal formations were a little bit more frequent last week, but is there anything that's carried over that you're still trying to work through?
Not really. We know the rules. An illegal shift wiped out a touchdown for them as well, and so it's so important to be about our business. And the more pre-snap motion and shifts and type of things that you do, you really have to be on top of it. So it's a point of emphasis for us.
And again, it's very easy to connect the dots between the motion and the penalties they're getting. So you kind of understand why they might be ramping it in slowly.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's all part of it. And there's some moving pieces. Jerry Jeudy's new. The system's a little bit new, like we've talked about a million times. So, yeah, I think it will probably ramp up. I don't envision it, and I could be wrong, but I don't envision it getting to the point where there's motion 80% of the time. I just don't think it goes there. I think they want to be faster than that too, and a lot of motion slows it down, right? You can't play with the same tempo if you got all kinds of motion. So, maybe they peak at 55% of the time for 1 week, but I don't think it's going to be, one of the teams that lead the league in the pre-snap stuff.